Hey, welcome back to Fitness Tennis. So in today's video, I'm going to share my tennis elbow update, what's been working and not working. And the second topic I want to talk about is how to tell whether the racket is going to be kind of like a board or not. Like certain rackets, you hit it, it feels like you're hitting with a board. So it's boardy or not boardy. And I'm going to give you a specific way to measure that before you even hit that one ball, and you can tell by the string pattern, and I'll be very specific in how to tell that. The third one is a rabbit hole. It's a string rabbit hole that if you Google tennis warehouse string database, there is a spreadsheet that you can actually sort, and there's a bunch of metrics, and I think I figure out 4 different metrics that's going to help making softer racket. So hopefully I'm going to, check out some of these. I'm going to find some combinations so that I can help heal my tennis elbow and keep that string sort of set up so that I can prevent it in the future. So that's my goal. So first, tennis elbow update. So I played men's night about 3 days ago, and I played 2 sets and I felt pretty good. By the third set, I'm like, oh shit, I overdid it. It kind of flared up a bit, but it wasn't terrible. It was definitely playable, and I played with let's see, which one did I play with? Yeah, I played with this Babolat Pure Drive. I know a lot of you guys are gonna think that you are crazy. When you have a tennis club, you shouldn't play with that, which is not the case. So this racket has more power, and as long as I'm hitting somewhere here, of course I have to frame some balls in every set, guys. I framed a few, but it wasn't terrible, but it was fine. But it was more of my technique. When it's wrong, it hurt me, but hitting the ball wasn't that bad. In fact, I want to show you my wrist thing. Oh, where did it go? Oh, here. I'm actually sitting on it. So I have basic, like, one of those Amazon wrist thing. So you basically wrap your wrist like this. If you make it tight, it kind of restricts the wrist action. So it's a little tight, so I can't really go too far. I mean, if I force it, I can go. And in playing, it will go if I flip my wrist too much. But this is basically kind of like giving me a reminder every ball: don't flick it too hard, don't flick it too hard. And then the other thing that I noticed is that if I just serve like this, just like instead of pronating, because I think that was one reason why I did get tennis up in the first place, I just basically do a more like slice serve and go all the way through and follow through without pronating, and that seemed to help my wrist and shoulder too. And so, I mean, I lost all 3 sets. That's fine. I didn't have a good feel of this racket, which is more of a tighter string pattern, which I'm more used to, more open string pattern, especially when you try to clear the net really low. So that's next topic. But so yeah, that's what I've been doing. So what's been working? So I've been doing a lot of like not on the bone is right there, right? But where the muscle is kind of tight. So I've been doing a lot of this, like a lateral muscle tissue breaking or scar tissue breaking, to get the scar tissue kind of break up a bit so that more fresh blood can go in there and kind of heal. So I did some tiger balm stuff, and then I really dig deep, and pain level up to about 5 or 6 level out of 10. And I did this, and this seems to help. And the interesting thing is, after I did this, where I did it, the pain went away and the pain moved to some other place. So maybe it's working, I don't know, but that did relieve the pressure here at least, and pressure here too. And the golfer's elbow, it's easier to do with your thumb, and then the tennis elbow, it's easy to do with these two, maybe these 3 like this. And then I've done a lot of like what do you call this? Is this scapular or deltoid? Deltoid, yeah. Deltoid part, I did a lot of like a ball massage, a lot of stretching, and then like a bar pulling type of thing, which kind of strengthens your forearm and then stretches the shoulder, and also I'm kind of working on my serve. I tilt more and then hit out here, not like here, which my toss when I my neighbor is doing construction is so loud it's hard to focus. When I toss, my toss goes that way. So I end up doing this, and in that process, I get like my shoulder gets a little pinched. They call it impingement or something, and I think that has something to do with this, in my opinion, and that's what I've been reading on the YouTube too. But yeah, so I'm working on this, like tilting my upper body a little bit this way. So if I stand straight, it will be like this way, which is more like high volley, But if I tilt it, it becomes a serve, and I'm kind of working on that so I can relieve some of pain here. And I've showed you this kind of grip thing. It seems to have help go out like this. Yeah, it used to hurt a lot here, but it feels good now. It feels like nice stretching, which means I'm actually getting better. The other thing that I do is this. So that's pretty tight, yeah. So I'm trying to do at least like 3, 4, 5 times a day. Whenever I see it, I tend to do it. So the key is to put it by you. If you just carry this thing around, you're gonna do it more. So I go to about pain level like 3, 4 maybe, but not more than that. If it's more than that, I pull back. And then the other thing is called I think it's called isometric, I think, which means you're doing stretching at a very slower pace, or even pausing at a certain point. Kind of like a resistant strengthening type. So apparently that's good for tendons. And then the other thing that I learned is that tennis elbow is not it's not inflammation. So tendonitis means tis means it's like inflammation. So it's not tendonitis. It's called a tendinosis, which means I think like more of a wear and tear rather than inflaming. So when I just said it kind of like flared up, it's not really flaring up like inflammation. It's just wear and tear, feeling wear and tear. So the rest is important. And I actually we went out and hit some ball machine, ice some volleys, and some light ground strokes. And at first I felt a little bit of weight or pain, but I just tried to make a good contact in the middle of the racket. Didn't swing that hard, just like one of these two-hand. I didn't use one-hand backhand because that is a problem for me. So two-hand, nice, so that good contact. And then ground strokes, just very smooth, not like this, that like snapping thing. I was watching YouTube Korean tennis pro, and he was explaining in Korean where, so he says 하나 둘 셋, 하나 둘 셋 is 1 2 3. The way he was saying is, a lot of times people will try to just hit that ball like a 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3, but the way he explained it was you should hit like 1 2 3. This is what I did there. 1 2 3, meaning that swing itself, you want to have a longer swing, which means ball stays on the string bed a little bit longer. You put more weight into the ball and follow through. So 1 2 3, and I couldn't quite do that, so I basically changed it into breathing out. So I was just doing, okay, I'm gonna set it up, and when I hit it, when I hit the ball, I breathe out long. So to that helped me to have a longer swing pattern, which then stopped me from snapping the wrist, which hurts, right? And then I was actually hitting balls much deeper without trying too hard. So that was a great lesson, which I think you should try too. So it's like 하나 둘 셋 like that, you know. Korean 하나 둘 셋, 1 2 3, or super long, you know, breathe out. So what else do I want to share? That's pretty much it. So it's been working. When I hit the ball machine, like I said, it didn't hurt that much. Actually, it didn't hurt at all. The other thing, possibly because I use this racket today. So this one is softer than this. And let me explain to you why. Which is the second topic. How to tell a boardy racket to soft racket. Boardy rackets have a tighter string pattern, which means that it's best to measure the middle, because theoretically you're supposed to hit the middle, right? The ball, right? So assuming you can hit the middle, which I need to work on. Right in the middle, that rectangular shape, if that size is bigger, that means it's less boardy. If it's smaller, it's a boardy racket. So what I end up doing is I decided to measure the square. Man, today it's like hard to find things. And I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna do it. I have a bad eye, so I'll have to kind of like this. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the middle rectangular shape right there. I'm gonna use the centimeters and millimeters, because that's where I grew up. If I have to do the inch, I wouldn't be able to tell you what they are right now because it's really hard to read. So on the boardy racket, from here to here, it's about 1 centimeter. If I do a non-boardy racket, which is this guy, I'll pick right there. It's about 12 centimeters. So 2 millimeters wider. And then obviously you have to measure the height too. This one is about 17, no. What did I just say? I'm sorry guys. Go back, try again, sorry about that. So let's measure this. This is 1 centimeter and this is, did I say 12? Yeah, this is 12. This one is about 15 millimeters. This one is about 13 millimeters. So there's about 2 millimeters of the square difference. So the interesting thing is why the pure drive felt more boardy than the pure arrow is because it is a tighter string pattern. And I'm gonna measure this. Right in the middle somewhere here, it's about 10. So 1 centimeter, 10 millimeter. This one is about, this is pretty tight. This is about 11 or 12. So 11 or 12 versus this one is about 15. So there's a big difference. And because of the tighter string pattern, when you hit the same ball, which I was missing like a lot last men's night, My favorite shot is one of those like just over the net, nice slice, you know, dipper type. I hit and just constantly hit the tape, and it didn't go over. And racket like this will give me that feel because the ball basically pockets a little bit longer in my opinion, or it spins a little bit more, so I can actually kind of manipulate that feel of hitting over the net, just over the net. So if the net player try to poach that, they're gonna hit it to the net basically, or hit it long or high. And so I realized that this is tougher on the arm. This is much easier on the arm. And the tendency of this racket is more of a spin friendly. You know, aerodynamically, I think what they're saying is the neck. So neck is like flatter here, which means it's hard to swing straight like this. It's hard like this. You kind of have to tilt this. Then it becomes more aerodynamic because of this wing. You end up swinging like this more. On the other hand, this one doesn't have that. This is just, I forget what they call the shape. This is easier to hit like this than this, right? So I think that neck shape is basically determining how it's aerodynamic this way versus this way. So I more and more realize that this racket is better for me. In the past, this felt so heavy in the second set, so I had a hard time, but I just need to get used to it. This is currently about 325-ish grams, but for some reason it feels like more hefty. It feels like a hammer or something. So yeah, that's how you can tell. So as we mentioned, the rectangular is between like 2 millimeter bigger or smaller determines really board like feel like racket, and not board more of a softer. And obviously when you have tennis elbow like me, you want to go with bigger one. There is a racket that is even bigger. So this one is going to be bigger because it's 16 by 16. Oops, let's measure that. Middle pick right there, maybe. That one. This one is about not as wide as I thought, about 11 millimeters. But this is going to be bigger. This is about this is about 15. Yeah, about 15, which is very similar to this. So this explains why Aero is way more spin friendlier, because the gap is almost the same as 16 by 16 versus 16 by 19, which makes it very interesting. So that means they basically spread out the gap very evenly. So this part is more open. Interesting. That's why, you know, when I hit with this racket feels more like this when it comes to spin and that little last minute manipulation. Now this racket isn't as good for me because I feel the shock because of a lighter weight and thinner frame. So not by much by looking at it like this, but this one is, I believe, somewhere in the 22 millimeter, maybe 23, and this one is 23 or 24. It's more heftier frame. So the weight might be different, but this handles the shock better. This gives you more feel, but it will give you more shock. That's why it's not good racket for me. It's a lot less plow through than this, and the racket has head shape too. You're not going to be able to tell from this, but this one is more oval. And my tendency is I keep hitting here when I hit the ball. So the wider here, higher chance that I'm gonna hit on the string bed, not on the frame. So this one has actually more rounder, not as oval as that one. So if I hit on the head racket here, I'm still within that, you know, right there, right? I'm still within the string bed. But I still hit frames. I do. So I could use maybe another inch right here on both ends. Or maybe just one end, but then the racket wouldn't be unbalanced. It doesn't make sense. So that's how I figured out bigger the rectangular. Is it called rectangular? Is that a noun? Or is that a... Anyways, English is my second language, guys. So now, oh, so yeah, the one other thing to add is that if you're thinking about checking out different rackets, just take your racket and take the measure and just measure the middle, right in the middle. And then you should be able to tell this is 40. I like it, but gives me more shock. And it's a thinner frame too, which means more feel means more shock. Do you get it? More feel means you'll feel more shock. More power meaning you don't get as much feel. Oh, okay. Let's move on to the rabbit hole of the day. The rabbit hole is the Tennis Warehouse string database. If you Google, it's going to take you to a page. The website address is kind of clunky, so I'm not going to even try. But what I'm going to try to share with you is the spreadsheet that I made. Basically, I picked, I doubt you can see. There are about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 different strings that I picked, that I hand-picked by sorting the stiffness, what they call the energy return percentage, string and string COF. I had to look that up. It's something like a coefficient of friction. It's like very technical word, but you get the idea. So the lower the number, it has less friction, meaning it has more slap back. It moves more. And then the price. So those 4 things, I had to look up price separately, but I basically did that. And what made the lists are basically, I'm going to just go ahead and read. And I'm hoping to make like a PDF in the future, like putting all this information together so you can have just one PDF and get all the answers done for tennis elbow. But okay, Gamma Professional 18 made that. The stiffness. So I need to explain how I did it. By the way, if you like this content, if you want to buy me a coffee, I'm going to put the link below. I would really appreciate it because, yeah, I mean, it is work to put this together. So with the stiffness, obviously, it's not obviously, I shouldn't use that. Stiffness, in my opinion, based on the strings that I've used, the less is better in this case, but not always the same if the energy return percentage is low. So let's say it has a softer string, but if it has a less energy return, it's not a good string. It means it requires more power to get the ball over. What we want is more energy return, like the guts. If you see the spreadsheet, the guts are at the top. They return the most energy back, meaning when you hit a ball without so much effort, ball's gonna just fly out. So much power. So you get the easy power that's good for tennis elbow patience. So you want to have less stiffness, but more importantly, higher energy return, and then less COF, coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction. Is it coefficient? Coefficient of friction. meaning it's gonna have more slapback, it's gonna spin more, it's gonna, you know, the slapback, that right there does help like slinging the ball like that, right? So slapback is important. And I actually cross-checked with the strings that I've already used. So for example, like a Yonex Pro Tour, this. Slapback is good, but not as good as when I use the biphase. That's really good. Biphase and this is the cross is Yonex Pro Tour Fire or Fire, one of those one. And it has a very, I mean, this is the best, the lowest COF that I've seen. And so based on about a dozen or so strings that I've used before, and I know how they feel, and I, you know, cross-checked with these numbers, and I got to a point where COF, if it's lower than about 0.07, it's really good. Pro Tour is 0.09. Yeah, 0.09. It's not terrible, but there are better ones. For example, out of cross that I'm thinking using as a like a mono poly or one of those poly for better control and spin, there's something called the Toroline O-Toro 17 is one of the lowest, 0.064. And then the other one, this might be multi-filament. Well, the Wilson Revolve 16 and 17, and they're like 0.062, but I'm thinking they're not poly. So I think the only poly that they made here on this list are two. The other one is the Solinco Tourbyte 20. So you know how gauge like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This one is as thin as it can be. I didn't even know this existed. But Solinco Tourbyte 20 has I picked that for the higher return energy and then lower stiffness. The COF is 0.093. So my theory is that if you put a very soft string with a high energy return on the main with just mediocre COF, if you put a decent energy return string on the cross with a super good COF, that means this is going to slap back a lot more. You get the power from high energy return multi-filament like gut on the main, and yet control spin and everything, pocketing. And that's where I'm going to order, the first thing that I'm going to order as main one is the Babolat Synthetic Gut 17. So that one has a stiffness of 162.3, but energy return is 92.4. I think the guts are like somewhere in like 95 range. And if you look at the poly, like O-Toro 17 is like 84. If you see like one of the stiffer like Solinco Tourbyte, I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in like 70 maybe. And so Babolat Synthetic Gut at 92.4, super high energy return rate at COF 0.7, which is very close to one of the lowest O-Toro or Wilson Revolve 16. So to me, that's like the winner to me. And the price is only $8 per one thing. The stiffness is 162, higher than I would like. But again, stiffness could be the wrong indicator for me because this is a stiff racket, stiff string. Stiff string with a high energy return could be a good thing. So I'm going to check that out first. And then the next one, the cross one, is I'm going to check out the Toroline O-Toro 17 for cross. That's about $15, which is not terrible. That's actually pretty good. If I combine those two, I'm thinking if my theory is correct, it's going to play really well and help my arm. So I don't know how many of these I'm gonna try, but if I try like 3 or 4 different kinds of the best and make the right combination, if it works, and if I never feel pain here or here or here, then it's a winner, right? So that's what I'm shooting for. And I'm going to report back about this. You know, it's gonna take me minimum 2 to 3 weeks, because I need to order these strings. I need to, you know, string, and then I'm gonna rest another, maybe, I don't know, minimum 5 days to go out and hit balls and be able to play some sets, so that, you know, because real good gears or setup shines during a tight point. When I'm tight, it's 4-4 deuce point. That's when it happens, right? So I need to do the real battle test, not match, but at least I need to have the men's night battle. I need to win some, and I need to feel good about it and still relieve the pain. So it's gonna take me about 2 to 3 weeks to get that video out there. But yeah, so this is a rabbit hole that I spent a couple of hours at least. And I hope to find a like really good answer for you, so you don't have to. But yeah, that's where I am right now. So yeah, so just to go over, I heard you heard me saying about that I'm getting better, so I'm doing the right things right now, and I'm able to play some, you know, ball machine hitting, which is great. And then you know now how to tell body racket and unbody racket, and then how to measure them. And then we just touched on the string database rabbit hole, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. So, well, thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Stay fit. I'll see you in the next video.